All right, so Apex has dropped some new rules in their new Apex 4.0, and I honestly think some of these rules can be a game changer in helping folks just like you and me get some payouts under our belt. So in this video, we're going to talk about what changed exactly, the 6 biggest changes, 3 biggest arguments in the trading community currently that has traders split about this new Apex update, and last but not least, some advice based on whatever trading perspective you currently have, such as someone who's left Apex because of some of these rules or a new trader. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Shangab. I've been trading futures for the last 2 years now, and I've yet to make a single dollar in prop from payout. However, this year I'm looking to change that. My goal this year is to get $73,000 in prop from payouts year to date. Now, 73,000 is a very specific number because that number alone will be 30% more than what I make at my current job annually. However, there's a catch. The catch is that I cannot spend over $10,000 in prop firm expenses before making that 73,000. So if you want to find out whether trading prop firms can actually replace a salary, subscribe, because that's what I'm here to do all year long. All right, so let's talk about what changed a little bit. So the first thing is the major thing is they switched the drawdown type. So the drawdown type used to be an intraday trailing drawdown. That was one of the most hated things that Apex was known for. They switched it now where that still is there. However, the end of day drawdown is now the new thing. But what I've noticed is that when you come here and kind of look at these eval charts, and we're gonna kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. When you look at these eval charts, the advantage is still to the intraday trailing drawdown or the intraday trailing drawdown accounts versus the end of day. And the reason why is because, well, the loss limit also plays a factor, but not necessarily as much as this. Sorry, wrong chart. The payout scale. So the payout scale is you can have opportunities or more opportunities to withdraw more money from the markets from intraday accounts rather than end of day accounts. But I mean, it's only 30,000, which is 1.5 per account. However, also know that the end of day, of course, is going to cost more. It makes sense. It's a really good business model, especially when they know that traders wanted this for a little minute. So now there's 2 of them. The MAE rule changed, so they removed it entirely. We'll talk about that a little bit. The risk to reward rule also changed. They removed that entirely. So risk management guidelines to ensure that your trades are balanced with responsible amount of risk relative to profit potential or potential profit. So your stop loss should not exceed 5 times the amount of your take profit. So these were the people like if you had a 10-point take profit and a 50-point stop loss. They also, any dollar cost averaging restrictions have also been removed. Before they would kind of ban you for it and not even get you a payout. Consistency rule went up from 30% to 50%. Payout qualification now is just 5 profitable days only, and that, however, went up to $250 counts as a profitable day. Payout frequency is now every 5 days instead of monthly windows. Payout process. It was literally a running joke that with Apex, you literally had to submit every document known to mankind just to get a payout to be processed. Now they kind of got rid of that. It's just basically, it's a fully automated system. We still don't know how it works fully, so be very cautious about this. A lot of these Apex reviews on the new rules are going to have affiliate links in their description, which makes it a little bit hard because you don't know if they're biased or not. Yes, I do trade Apex every single day, but I don't have any affiliates with them yet. So you can trust and believe that this review is not biased. And one thing I'll always make sure as a core value for me moving forward is that doesn't matter how big I get, I don't change. So even when I do get affiliate codes, because I will, and yes, I will be putting them in my description too, and hopefully you use them as well. But you best believe that I'm going to make sure I have your best interest in mind and tell you the truth about everything. Payout process, now fully automated. This is one thing where I'm kind of questioning. I think it's like you have a checklist of box, and if you violate one of them, you get denied. From what I've seen on Twitter, a lot of people have been kind of talking about essentially that some of their payouts have been denied and they're not having too much of a fun time with the new automated system. But take everything with a grain of salt, right? There's a lot of misinformation out there. Let's talk about account sizes. The account sizes changed. They got rid of 250K and 300K accounts. If you watched my last guide on Apex, the one where I was like, you never need to watch another guy after this, I was actually saying that the 150K is, like, if you're thinking about going up from the 50K, the 150K is the other account that you should go with. It's the best one besides the 50K accounts. I think Apex kind of realized that people weren't buying the 250Ks and 300Ks, and they just kind of got rid of it. Let's talk about billing model. This is a really big one for me. They got rid of the monthly subscriptions. I don't have to track my fucking subscriptions anymore. Sorry for cursing. As we'll let the police go. They got rid of this. They got rid of the monthly subscription. It's just one-time fees, 30 calendar days. This reminds me of the CFD firms that I used to trade. For a lot of people that don't know, I used to trade Forex before I came to futures. And the CFD firms had where when you bought an account eval, it was just for 30 days, and after 30 days, it's done. I took that same approach when coming from Forex to here. And it's nice that they, kind of did that. Now it's going to be a concern. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Minimum day now is 1 day, and then profit split remained unchanged, and so does max accounts. We're going to look at this. I think the main things that we need to note is max trailing drawdown. So these have all been decreased. So you have less trailing drawdown now. Simple as that. This used to be 2,500. It's 2,000 now. I'm not sure what these used to be. If you know, drop it in the comment sections below. And then besides that, I don't really see any other massive changes. Oh yeah, with the end of day accounts, daily loss limits enforced now. But besides that, I don't really see too much of a change. Yeah, these are for the PA accounts. Consistency rule is now 50, so that's pretty nice. I don't really care about the skinlet contracts, but I think, if you want to go ahead and pause the video, take a look at it, you can. This is probably the most important thing we should talk about. So the 6 payouts. So this is actually what I think is probably the biggest thing, but a lot of us are not getting 6 payouts per account. Unfortunate, very unfortunate. So I see a lot of people complaining, but yeah, some of us really aren't doing that. So I have a motto: don't make it a problem. Don't solve a problem until you faced it. So we shouldn't be worried about this if you're not getting payouts. I.e., I'm not worrying about it. But it is funny though. It used to be 2,000 for the 50Ks. So now it's 1,500, and then 2,000, 2,500, 2,500. And then I think after the 3rd or 5th one, whichever one it was, they kind of let you take out whatever you want. Now you don't do that anymore, and it's a sixth. The 6th payout is at 3,000 maximum you can withdraw. But yeah. So what happens after the 6th payout is still in the air. Do they move you to a live, or do you have to just buy a new eval and start all over again? Either way, if they move you to live, kudos. If you have to buy a new eval, I mean, you would have made $13,500. No, I think 14,500. You would have made 14,500 in payouts with one account. So 20, you would have made $290,000. I think that's fine. End of day is a little bit less because it's end of day, right? It's an advantage to have an end of day trailing drawdown. So they make it less that you can, kind of pay out. That one's 13,000 per account. I did the math a little bit. So let's talk about the main points, right? So the main points: end of day drawdown, single most important change. Let's talk about how I got this information. So basically, I created a sarcastic research that researched all of the Apex changes that were made March 1st. And I had 10 agents go out with different perspectives and how they kind of look at it, and then come back with all of the changes. And these were some of the most important parts that each of those agents agreed with. So the first things first was end of day drawdown. So that was the most important change. Every single one of them agreed that this was the number one most important change. Why? What does it mean for you? It just means now, if you're a different trader, you can, let your trade breathe. If you're in a long position and it spikes 46 before reversing, your drawdown floor hasn't moved. Under TDD already did. So intraday trailing drawdown, it already did. Now we'll talk about this in a second, but what this means for Apex alone is they're inviting a whole bunch of new trading styles, which is neat. But the fine print you got to realize is, even though it's an end of day drawdown account, it still gets checked every tick. So if you invalidate that liquidation point or that liquidation threshold by a tick, even if it's intraday, it's not like they check it out of the end of the day to see if you validated. No, the moment you invalidated that threshold, account's closed. So don't get that mixed up, right? So if you go down your maximum loss limit, your account will be closed, right? If you go down it, if you touch it in unrealized position, but you close the realized position at a gain, I think your account will be closed. This is the one thing that's still up in the air. But I'm going to say, just to be safe, assume that if you touch the end of day or that trailing drawdown by a tick, your account's gonna be closed. And if it's not, hey, good kudos, but always assume the worst. MAE removal is the second biggest thing. This rule was kind of tricky, but essentially Apex doc about it is basically like, to kind of give it an example. For a 50K account, if the profit balance is $4,000, a trader should not allow drawdown exceeding $1,200. Now, like if you kind of do it over and over, that's when they start to penalize you for it. And like you'll see like a payout get denied because you violated this rule. But they removed that rule completely now. You could trade normal, let trade breathe. If you make money, you keep it. You know, just kind of trade your own style now. Automated payouts addresses the #1 trust complaint. So the old system used to use manual reviews, video recordings, screenshot uploads, subjective null reasonings. The new system is a dashboard box with all greens, you get paid. So it's automated now. Less anxiety, right, for you. What does this mean? Less anxiety, more predictability. So the automation can flag you incorrectly and leave you no human to appeal to. This was one thing that the agent that was skeptic on the changes kind of listed out. So probably be aware of that. 50% consistency rule is meaningful, right? It's better than 30% consistency rule. So it's just kind of a scenario. Here we go. Like you have a 50K account, your best day was 1,500. The old rule, in order for you to get a payout, because your best day was 1,500, you need a payout balance of 5,000. Now, if your best day is 1,500, you just need to be at $3,000 of profit. What does this mean? For me, mainly, when I get to fund it, I can trade them just as aggressively as I was trading them on my eval accounts, which means I'm going to be losing a lot of funded accounts, but I'll get to payouts a lot faster as well too. Legacy accounts are unchanged, so if you have a legacy account, none of these rules apply to you. And there's a lot of 90% discount blitz going on, so take advantage of it. Now, let's talk about the genuine arguments. Is the changes that Apex made good for traders? Or is this just a change to boost up marketing and pocket more cash? Well, the answer, unfortunately, is the latter. The reason why I believe this is simply because, well, Apex doesn't profit from you being profitable. Yet they do have a live that they're rolling out, and that will be another like kind of business model that they'll be able to profit from. At the end of the day, man, you just really have to realize that this is a game. The prop firm business and industry is a game of money in versus money out. So long as you remember that, you'll be good. But if you're naive to the game and you don't understand it, or ignorant to the game, you will pay the price. So argument number 2, is the 6 payout cap per PA account a serious problem? So Camp 1, or Camp A, says that it is a major problem. After 6 payouts, the funded account closes. Ooh. You have to requalify through a new paid evaluation. No legit prop firm does this. It's a churn mechanism. Camp B says it's not a major factor. I mean, with frequent 80 to 90% discounts and 28 accounts allowed, the practical cost is manageable. 6 payouts is a reasonable runway. I actually agree with the fact that it's not a major factor. Now, the reason why I say that is because most of us aren't really getting 6 payouts per account. But for the select few, the 1% that are, they have made enough profits to the point where getting a new 20K eval funded account really isn't going to harm the pockets too much. Now, what I will say is, and this is going to get into the next point, 6 payouts is going to roughly take you about 3 to 4 months. I know it says here about like 1 to 2 months, but for us, it's going to take probably 3 to 4 months of consistent trading. So I would say don't worry about it too much. Don't make it a problem until you've actually faced it. But I don't think it's a major problem or a major factor. Let's go into argument 3. Is the one-time fee or the no monthly billing actually better? So there's 2 camps. One says better for most. No subscription drain, known total cost, no pressure to pass before the next billing cycle. But there's a mixed camp. See, the old monthly model gave unlimited resets. Now, blowing this eval on day 15 means you have to buy a new one. Traders with a sub 50% first attempt pass rate may pay more overall. But I'm going to preface this and say this all depends on how much the new eval costs compared to the reset amount. You see, what I remember, the reset amount was about $80 to $90 for my 50K accounts. I almost always had a promotion that was cheaper and would prefer just buying a new account in general. So we can go over the unique points, but I'm not going to spend too much time about it. These are just unique points that, I thought would be nice to address. One is the structural critique, right? Apex is becoming a better retail prop firm, but it's not becoming a real prop firm. We all know this already, right? I think it's just very, very important to remember this. Like Apex revenues does come from traders failing evals, and they're trying to change that now. right? Because they're having the inclusion of live accounts. I would say just keep that in mind. Apex does profit from all the failed evals. And then the fine print, make sure you understand that the end of day drawdown does not mean that the threshold is only checked at the end of day. It is checked at every single tick. It just doesn't move until the session closed. Touch it intraday and you're liquidated immediately. Your account done, buddy. And then be aware of the post safety net requirement, liquidation threshold, and then if you have any legacy accounts, don't expect it to have these new rules. So now let's get into the advice. The advice that we would give based off of the perspective each trader has. So ex-Apex trader returning or considering returning. So if you previously left Apex because of any of these rules or because of something you hated, right? For example, I remember I had a friend that really hated the fact that they had so much verification in the payouts. Well, now look at it. Almost 70% of your complaints are gone. I would say start with a 50K end of day drawdown account on discount. Keep your current firm, whatever you're using as a hedge, and monitor 60 to 90 days before scaling. So try it out for 60 to 90 days before deciding if you want to scale with Apex trader funding. Now let's look at the traders who are currently trading Apex. Nothing really changes for us. Just make sure to trade your legacy PAs conservative. When it expires, your next account will be better. Don't take in any of these rules with any of your legacy PAs, and don't try to convert. It's not going to be allowed. I learned this the hard way. I bought 5 new evals before this update came out, and a few of them I hadn't traded on, so I tried to change over. They wasn't going for it. The next perspective is if you're a new futures trader. So I would say this is probably the most favorable entry point in all of trading, prop firm trading history. If you're new to trading, of course, develop your strategy, take the time. Do not enter the prop firm game until you're ready to lose money. Set aside a monthly balance every single month that you will dedicate to prop firms. For me, it's $100. Every single month, I set aside $100 that I'm going to play around with prop firms. Evaluations. Activations is a different ballgame. And only start with the 25Ks or the 50Ks accounts if you're going to use Apex. Probably start with the end of day account. It is a little bit more favorable, but you can also start with intraday. Doesn't matter. Just don't rush to pass in one day. Please do not get caught up in the, oh, I need to pass one day. I need to do this. I need to, rushing it a payout. Don't do it, right? Just sit there, build up, get your experience, trade live markets, get used to it. The consistency rule does apply on funded accounts. Keep that in mind, but it doesn't apply during evals. But if you're a new futures trader, you're going to spend majority of your times on evals. Now, risk-focused trader or drawdown obsessed. So someone who's obsessed with the intraday trailing drawdown. The end of day accounts is transformative, but read the fine print. Still liquidates you intraday if you touch that level. The post safety net withdrawal can trap you, so keep that in mind. It can get you really close to that liquidation threshold. And 50% consistency resets after each payout, so you don't have to worry about that. Now the skeptic. So this is someone who is skeptic on prop firms all in general. I'm gonna wait for that to stop before I continue. All right, so the Discord is still shut down. Affiliate blitz is still happening. You're still getting blitzed with affiliate. Vague prohibited activities list are all worth watching. If you're skeptic about Apex, wait 3 to 6 months to see if these payouts are actually getting processed as claims before going all in. That is my take on the new Apex rules. I hope you guys gain some type of value out of this. How I'm going to trade it moving forward is very simple. I'm still going to stick with the intraday accounts because they didn't affect me at all. They're most likely still going to be cheap at the end of the day, and now I can get a little bit more in payouts with them than with the end of day trail and drawdown accounts too. However, I probably will pick up a few end of days just because I would just want to test it out and see which one gives me a higher pass rate. But yeah, it doesn't change too much about me. I think the biggest change for me is this rebill, because now I don't have to hunt down exactly when I have to cancel my subscription. It does it for me. With that being said, guys, I am exhausted. I just got off work, but I just wanted to record this video up for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, gained something of value. You know my motto, be a problem solver, and see you guys next time until the last time. I know I usually do a outro intro, but tonight I am just tired, so I promise I got you in the next one, okay? Okay.